Here we go, day one on the Southwest Coast Path.
The Southwest Coast Path is the longest national trail in England, stretching for 630 miles from Minehead in Somerset, along the coasts of Devon and Cornwall, to Poole Harbour in Dorset, and passes through some of the most picturesque sections of coastline in the UK. In summer 2021, me and Amy walked an 80-mile section of the path in 6 days, starting in Lizard Point and ending in the coastal town of St Ives.
That down there behind me is Lizard Point, and it's the southernmost point in the UK. And this is where we're starting our walk from. For the next 6 days, we're walking a 67-mile section of the Southwest Coast Path, starting in Lizard Point, which is just behind me there, following the coast around Land's End, and ending in St Ives. This is actually our first ever continuous long distance hike. We've done fairly long hikes over consecutive days before, but never one long route broken up into different sections over multiple days. So this is the first time that we've done a walk with everything that we need carried on our backs. I think it's going to be a bit of a challenge, but I'm also really excited about it. We're about 1 mile in now, so just 66 to go. Today we're only doing about 7 miles to our first campsite in Mullion. I wanted the first couple of days to be a bit more chilled out and just get used to carrying this weight on our backs. I've got a 65 litre bag here, and Amy's got a 60, so quite a bit more weight than I'm used to carrying on day hikes. This area of coastline around here is famous for this type of mineral called serpentine, which you can find in Kynance Cove and Lizard Point, and it's this dark green or dark red stone, and it was used during the Victorian times to make jewellery out of. And when we were coming into Lizard, we saw loads of gift shops selling jewellery made out of serpentine. That down there is Kynance Cove, which is a really famous little bit of beach. It's very busy today. It's a shame it's not a sunny day out today, because apparently when the sun's out, this entire little section turns like an emerald green. It still looks pretty nice today, but apparently it's really nice when the sun's out. And this island here is called Asparagus Island. Some of these steep inclines are very tough with a bag on. We're just ascending from Kynance Cove behind me there, and this is the steepest bit so far. Whew. I've been looking forward to this trip for a few months now. We've not taken any time off, apart from a week working remotely from Cornwall since December, so this is a much needed break, and what a nice way to start a holiday. The thing that I was actually most worried about coming into this trip was the temperature. We've just come off the back of a heat wave here in the UK, where we had a couple of weeks of about 31, 32 degree heat, and doing this in those temperatures would have been really difficult. So I can't really complain about a little bit of cloud cover. It's about 21 degrees today, and I think it's going to stay like this for the whole week. We might have a couple of days of light rain, but I don't really mind that. Another thing that this stretch of coastline is famous for is smuggling. And actually, most of the towns and villages along this coast were built by the proceeds of smuggling. They'd use all the coves and the caves around here to their advantage to hide out from the authorities. And that's why you'll find a lot of the coves and towns are named after famous smugglers. The sun's just come out and the sea's turned an amazing green colour. And look at all the colours in the cliff face. And the oranges and greens and reds and browns. And there's nobody else around here. It's crazy how much harder even simple things like walking across a river can be with this weight on your back. Which way should we go? The steps are up this slidey way.
I think the brown way looks like it definitely went up. I'm not
Okay.
sure what the side way goes.
Up we go. There's so many wildflowers around at the moment. It's crazy. Look how many there are, yellows and pinks and whites. I definitely recommend coming at this time of year if you're going to do this walk. We're walking at the end of July. It's a really good time to do this.
Get it?
I don't think so.
I think that's too quick, but it's so cool that we saw one. Just when you mentioned it.
That was crazy. About a minute ago I said how cool would it be if we saw a snake, and then I just saw a snake wriggle across the path in front of me. It was about 50 centimetres, would you say?
Maybe 30? 50, yeah, between like 30 and
Between 30 and 50 centimetres. It was brown.
grass snake, probably.
Yeah, it must have been a grass snake. That's crazy. I think we've probably reached about our 6th or 7th mile in now. So we're going to start having a look soon to see where we turn in to find our campsite. We're staying in a campsite called Tenerife Farm Campsite tonight. I've basically just found campsites at a reasonable distance apart all the way along this coast. We're now just walking through this meadow with all these wildflowers in it. Oh, a biting fly on my arm. So we're going to head to our campsite now, set up our tent, and then we've got quite a bit of the evening to spend just around the campsite. What an amazing way to end our first day. Look at these wildflowers. There's tons of these purple ones now. You just see some amazing things along this coastline. Good morning. It's day 2 on the southwest coast path. We've just woken up. Well, I put this out on the tent to dry first. But yeah, it was quite a warm night last night. I was fine just in this rab base layer and my sleeping bag liner, and just slept on top of my sleeping bag. I'm a bit achy though this morning. It just shows how hard work it is walking up and down those hills with that bag on. But I'm sure all that will go away once I start walking again. So we're just gonna make our breakfast now, and then we're gonna get on our way. Breakfast done, tent down, and now we're gonna head on our way. And we're off on day 2 of the southwest coast path. It's cloudy again today, but a lot more humid than it was yesterday. It feels like we might be in for rain today. It's just a short day again today from Mullion to Porthleven. It's only about 7 miles like yesterday. Right now we're just heading from our campsite down to Mullion Cove on the coast and get back onto the path. We've just linked back up with the coast path, and this is the view that we were met with. That down there is Mullion Island. And these views are just amazing. It's a bit misty today, but it still looks incredible. We're only a couple of miles in and it's pretty tough going already. There's just so many ups and downs that you hardly cover any ground at all. Just stopped for lunch at a really nice beach cafe in Poole Cove, which is just behind me here. It's a really nice little beach and I could definitely come back here again. And now we're just continuing on our way. I think we're probably a little bit over halfway now. There's a kestrel up there. I think I can hear it chirping away. We've been really lucky with the weather so far again today. It seemed like it's been just about to rain all day and it just hasn't. It is noticeable though that once we get down to sea level it gets so much more humid. Up here on top of the cliffs it's a lot cooler and a lot breezier. That is Porthleven beach over there and we're going to follow the beach all the way along to Porthleven there, and we're going to stop there for a bit and then our campsite is just a bit further on. We're just dropping down to the beach now and it looks like it's not going to be possible for us to walk the whole way along the beach as the tide's in just a bit too much. There's a few little sections where it doesn't look like we'll be able to pass. So I think we're going to take the path that runs above the beach. Just there, it looks like the beach isn't really passable. Walking across this sandbar now, and it's so unusual having the sea on that side and a massive lake on the other. Sea, lake. And we bumped into quite a few people who are doing the southwest coast path as well, which is really cool. I think we've seen about 3 or 4 people today, and everyone stops to talk when they see your massive backs. Those trees do not look happy. They're all falling down the cliffs. We're just arriving into Porthleven now, and we have definitely earned a beer. So we're going to have a look for a pub and stop for about an hour before continuing to our campsite. And it looks like today is going to be quite a bit longer than 7 miles. It might end up being around 8 or 9. Well, that was a nice place to stop for a drink. We're just on our way to our campsite now. We've got about an hour to go, I think. It's about 6 o'clock now, so should arrive at 7. We'll set up our tent and then have something to eat. Sheeps. We have arrived at the campsite. Sea view by dropped anchor. Look how nice it looks. So after looking like it was going to rain all day and didn't, it's just started as we've reached our campsite, which is pretty good timing. We managed to get the tent set up just as it started to rain, and now we're inside, keeping dry, and we're going to make our dinner now. On the menu tonight for me is spicy pasta arrabbiata by Summit to Eat. I think Amy's going to make one of those cuppa pastas. Okay, let's see what this is like. Ooh, it's pretty spicy. It's very nice though. This one's a good one. I just wanted to recap our route over the last couple of days. So this is where we started here yesterday at Lizard Point, and we followed the coast along here, and this is Kynance Cove and Asparagus Island. We continued north up here, and then our first campsite we came inland and stayed here. And then this morning we took this path back to the coast and followed this route north until we reached Poldhu Cove, and that's where we stopped for lunch. Then after lunch we went back onto the path and walked quite a long way north here across this long beach called Porthleven Sands until we reached Porthleven. That's where we stopped for a drink, and then after that we took this road here as it was the quickest way to reach our campsite, which is just here, and that is where we are now. We just walked about 2 or 3 miles through some really narrow paths full of ferns and stinging nettles. It was pretty tough going. This might be the best beach we've seen so far. The water is so green over there. This bit here looks like an actual jungle.